There is something marine technicians say to each other that they never say to customers. When a boat rolls into the shop with a serious problem, they can almost always tell how many weeks the owner spent ignoring it. The knock that started in July, the smell that appeared in August, the weak telltale stream that was dismissed as normal. By the time the boat arrives on a trailer in September, the engine is already finished. What could have been a $300 repair has become a $5,000 rebuild. Your outboard almost always tries to warn you before it dies. The signals come early, they come clearly, and they come with enough lead time to save you thousands if you know how to read them. Most owners do not. They mistake early warnings for normal wear. They assume strange behavior will fix itself. They tell themselves they can finish the weekend and deal with it later. Today, I am going to walk you through the 5 warning signs that every experienced marine mechanic recognizes instantly. These are the things they check first when a boat comes in. If you can learn to spot them in your own engine, you buy yourself a window of time before a small issue becomes a catastrophic one. Let's start with the warning sign that sends the coldest chill down a technician's spine. Red flag number 1, low or uneven compression. When a mechanic wants to know the true condition of an outboard, they grab a compression gauge before they do anything else. Compression is the foundation of every combustion engine. When the piston travels up in the cylinder, it squeezes the fuel and air mixture to a specific pressure. That pressure is what creates usable power. When compression drops, everything downstream suffers. The engine hesitates, loses top end, burns oil, and smokes on startup. A healthy 4-stroke outboard should read between 180 and 210 psi across every cylinder. A 2-stroke should read between 110 and 130. What matters even more than the absolute number is the variance between cylinders. A difference of more than 15% between any 2 cylinders points to internal damage. Owners miss this one because compression does not fail suddenly. It drops gradually over months or even years. The engine still fires, it still moves the boat. It just feels a little slower to plane than it did last summer. A little harder to start on cold mornings. A little thirstier at the fuel dock. Owners adapt to the degradation without realizing they are adapting. Then one day the compression in one cylinder crosses a threshold, and the engine stops running. The repair bills at that stage are punishing. A full powerhead rebuild runs between $3,500 and $12,000 depending on horsepower. A brand new OEM powerhead from the manufacturer can reach $16,000. Even a remanufactured powerhead costs around $2,000 to $2,500 before you add 8 to 10 hours of dealer labor at current shop rates of $100 to $175 an hour. A compression test costs about $50 and takes 20 minutes. If you have not done one in 2 years, that is the most valuable thing you can do this weekend. But compression tells you what is happening inside the powerhead. The next red flag is happening somewhere most owners never look. Red flag number 2, milky oil in the lower unit. When a mechanic pulls the drain plug on a lower unit and a creamy, coffee-colored liquid pours out, the diagnosis is already made. Water has breached the seals and mixed with the gear oil. The lower unit of your outboard is a sealed oil bath. Heavy gear oil protects the gears and bearings from the enormous forces they transmit every time you shift or run at full throttle. When water intrudes, it emulsifies with the oil into a milkshake-colored mixture that cannot protect anything. Bearings begin to rust. Gears pit and wear. The precision machine surfaces that took a factory to produce are destroyed within hours of continued operation. Owners miss this one because they do not change their lower unit oil often enough to catch it. Most manuals recommend an annual change or every 100 hours, whichever comes first. A disturbing percentage of boat owners never change it at all. They assume that because the engine still runs, the components inside must be fine. By the time performance problems appear, the damage is already extensive. The most common entry point for water is the prop shaft seal. Fishing line wraps around the shaft during routine use, wears through the seal over time, and opens a pathway directly into the gear case. A new seal runs around $300. A gear case rebuild after a season of water contamination runs between $1,500 and $3,500. A replacement lower unit can push past $5,000. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. Change your lower unit oil once a year. Look at the color of what comes out. Clear gold or dark gold means healthy. Milky or cloudy means you just caught a problem early enough to save yourself thousands. Now we move to the warning sign that can destroy an outboard faster than anything else on this list. Red flag number 3, overheating or a weak telltale stream. Every outboard has a small jet of water that shoots from the side of the cowling when the engine is running. Technicians call it the telltale, or the P stream. It has one job. It confirms that your cooling system is moving water through the power head. Your engine pulls cold water from the lake or ocean through an intake on the lower unit. That water circulates through the power head, absorbs combustion heat, and exits through the telltale. If the stream is weak, intermittent, or missing, your cooling system is failing. The engine is overheating in that moment, even if the temperature gauge has not moved yet. The cause almost always comes down to one of 3 things: a clogged water intake blocked by debris, weeds, or a plastic bag, a worn water pump impeller that has lost its ability to push volume, or salt and scale buildup inside the power head itself, quietly narrowing the cooling passages over years of neglect. Salt water is 800 times more corrosive than fresh water. It does not merely damage metal on the outside. It deposits scale and minerals inside the cooling channels, and a neglected saltwater outboard can run with half-blocked passages for a long time before the owner notices anything. Owners miss this one because the telltale becomes invisible through repetition. You see it every time you start the boat, and eventually you stop seeing it at all. Meanwhile, the impeller inside your water pump is wearing down a little more every hour you run. The cost progression is unforgiving. A water pump rebuild costs $300 to $600. A blown head gasket from sustained overheating runs $1,500 to $3,000. Warped cylinders from severe overheating means a full rebuild at the price points we already discussed. Next time you start the engine, watch the telltale for 30 seconds. Strong, steady stream means your cooling is healthy. Weak dribble means you have a problem that is about to become very expensive. The 4th red flag is the quietest of the 5. Most owners never think to look for it. Red flag number 4, visible corrosion on the power head or midsection. Corrosion is the patient killer in marine engineering. It does not make noise. It does not trigger alarms. It consumes your engine slowly from the outside in, and by the time you notice it, the damage is permanent. When a technician opens the cowling on a used outboard, the first thing they examine is the power head and the midsection housing that connects the engine to the lower unit. White oxidation on aluminum, bubbling paint, pitting on metal surfaces, rust streaks on fasteners. These are the visual signatures of a motor that is being eaten alive. Corroded aluminum cannot be restored. Once the metal is compromised, it stays compromised. On certain models, midsection corrosion becomes so severe that the engine must be replaced because the structural housing is no longer sound. Honda has documented midsection corrosion issues on some of their 200 and 225 horsepower models that have given owners and mechanics years of headaches. The cause of most corrosion damage is simpler than people expect: sacrificial anodes. These are small metal blocks bolted to the outside of your outboard for one specific purpose. They are designed to corrode so your engine does not. When they wear out or fall off, your engine becomes the sacrifice. Owners miss this one because anodes look unimportant. They are small, plain, and easy to overlook, so they do not get checked, they do not get replaced, and by the time the engine itself starts to degrade, thousands of dollars of damage has already occurred. The prevention cost is trivial. A full set of replacement anodes runs $30 to $100. The cost of a corroded midsection, a new housing can run several $1,000s. A full engine replacement can reach $25,000. There is an old ratio in marine maintenance that holds up almost everywhere. Every dollar spent on prevention saves about 7 in future repairs. With corrosion, the ratio is usually much higher. This weekend, flip up your cowling and look at your anodes. If they look untouched and shiny, they are doing nothing. If they look fully eroded, they are past due. Either way, a 30-minute fix saves you an engine. One warning sign left. It separates owners who catch problems early from owners who get towed home. Red flag number 5, grinding, knocking, or unusual noises. Every outboard has a normal sound, a rhythmic, predictable combustion pattern that every owner learns without realizing it. The moment that sound changes, the engine is telling you something. Technicians take unusual noises seriously because those sounds are almost always the first audible sign of internal damage. A knock deep in the power head usually means a rod bearing is failing or a piston is slapping against the cylinder wall. A grinding noise from the lower unit usually points to stripped gears or a bent propeller shaft. A whine that rises and falls with RPM often traces back to a bearing approaching the end of its life. The problem is that these sounds start small. A faint tick at idle, a slight rattle under acceleration, a whine that is just audible above the wind and the water. Owners dismiss them as normal engine noise and often convince themselves the sounds have always been there. They have not. The cost math on this one is the harshest of all five. A $300 bearing replacement ignored for a season can turn into a $3,000 lower unit. A $500 valve job caught early can prevent a $5,000 rebuild. A $200 impeller can save a $2,500 engine. Owners miss this one because they have no reference point. They do not know what their engine is supposed to sound like, so they cannot detect when it sounds different. The solution is to pay attention early. Start your engine cold in the driveway with a set of muffs. Stand beside it. Listen. Learn the sound of a healthy engine, and you will recognize the sound of a failing one the moment it appears. The technicians who have spent decades in marine shops all say the same thing. The owners who bring boats in early leave with small repair bills. The owners who run it one more time leave without an engine. Here is what connects all five of these warning signs. None of them arrive by chance. None of them are bad luck. They are early communications from a machine that is trying to tell you something specific. Catching an outboard problem in the warning phase always costs a fraction of what it costs after the failure. Low compression, milky oil in the lower unit, weak telltale stream, visible corrosion, unusual noises. 5 signals, 5 opportunities to save yourself thousands of dollars and a wasted weekend on the water. Next time you start your engine, pay attention to what it is telling you. Pull the lower unit drain plug in the spring. Watch the telltale. Flip the cowling and inspect the anodes. Listen to the voice of the machine. When something feels off, trust the instinct, because the earliest warning you will ever get is the one you almost missed. The difference between a $300 repair and a $5,000 rebuild is usually about 2 weeks. 2 weeks of hearing something wrong and telling yourself it is nothing. Do not be the owner who pays the higher bill.